Hello, my friends. Happy Sunday. So good to see you guys. Hope you've had a great week. I am faking that I'm at a beach today. All right. And so I wish this story could be told to you sitting on a shore with blue water everywhere. But unfortunately, it's freezing outside and I couldn't go to the beach. So I'm faking it the best I can with my lots of blue fabric. So picture yourself on a beach getting ready to listen to the next miracle we're going to talk about. All right, we've had a lot of them about fish and water, right? Well, this is going to continue again, more about water. You guys know that if you haven't heard our other miracle stories, where do you go? TVC Kids Nashville on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel just for kids, just for you guys. So go back and look at those if you haven't. But let's take ourselves off to the beach, off to the water, and hear another miracle from Jesus, all right? And I'm reading again out of this Child Story Bible by Catherine Voss. So, you ready? Pretend you're on the beach. Here we go. While the people were busy planning to make Jesus their king. All right, so do you remember after he turned water to wine and some of the other miracles are like, he must be the king. Let's go get busy making him the king, right? He told his disciples to get back in the boat and go across the lake. All right, so he was like, we're not going to think about this being king thing. Let's just let them see who I truly am. And I want you guys to pull yourselves apart and be thinking about me. And so he said that, and then he would follow. He's like, I'll follow you guys later. You just guys go across the lake. So Jesus himself slipped away quietly up to the mountain so he could sit and talk to God, his Father. Do you guys ever just slip away to talk to God? Yeah? I know if you've watched my videos at all, you know I've had 3 major and probably 15 other spots that I would go to slip away to God. You guys remember where I would go when I was your age? Yeah, I would go to this big giant rock and sit and just talk to God there. I hope you guys have a place where you slip away and talk to God. But that's what Jesus was doing. Okay. He said he was going to slip away and talk to God. Soon it became dark, and there was Jesus just talking to his heavenly Father. But he didn't mind the darkness. But his disciples, who were rowing on the black, deep, dark water, they were a little afraid. The disciples had a long stretch of water ahead of them. It was about 4 or 5 miles from the land. So further than they could have jumped out and swum home, right? So they were out there. If it had been a bright moon shining in the sky and the wind had been calm and still, it would have been a delightful row. Cool in the evening after a long heat of the day. But soon the wind began to rise. I need Mr. Chris and his cymbals, don't I? All right, whoosh, think about the wind rising, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And the waves frothed from the white caps. The disciples had a hard time making the boat go against the wind and the waves. It kept swerving. Everybody ready? Swerve from one side, swerve to the next side. And the big waves dashed against it. If the disciples had not been experienced fishermen, right? Do you remember a lot of them were fishermen and they were spent time in their boats all the time. So if they had not been experienced, they would have had a hard time managing the boat at all. While they were struggling to keep the boat safe, Jesus was up on the mountain praying all during the night. Just before dawn, just before the sun started to come up, while it was still dark, Jesus went to his disciples, just as he promised he would. He said, I'll follow you. I'll be there. How could Jesus reach the disciples? They were so far out on the lake. How would Jesus cross the stormy water? I bet some of you guys know. I bet some of you heard the story. Still, I could hear it 100 times. It's so exciting. He did what no man can do. He walked on top of the water. So there he was. He's like, I told my disciples I'd get to them. Oh yeah, they're miles out in the lake, but I'll just walk on the water to get to them. Pretty cool? Yeah. When the disciples saw a white figure coming toward them out of the darkness, they were terrified. Now, Jesus told them, I'm going to come to you, but still, they're human, just like you and me, and they were terrified. They thought it must be a ghost coming toward them, but there are no ghosts. But even the bravest person would have been startled to see a figure in the darkness walking on water. Just right on top. Jesus did not want his disciples to be frightened, so he called out to them, "Be of good cheer, it is I." Could you imagine just hearing those words from Jesus as he's walking across the lake? Peter was filled with the thought of the wonderful power of Jesus. He felt that Jesus ruled the whole world, because he does. And he knew that Jesus could do all things. And if he could do all things, maybe he could even make a poor man, a human like Peter, walk on water. Peter, he was filled up, right? His faith was strong. He was filled up with knowing Jesus and seeing the miracles that Jesus had done. So he's like, well, if Jesus could do it, maybe his power is so strong he can make me do it too. So let's see what happens. So Peter called out to Jesus, "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus said, "Come, Peter." Peter got out of the boat, and for a few minutes, his heart was so filled with the thought of Jesus and Jesus' power that he too was able to walk on the water. Because he was so filled, his heart was so filled knowing that that was Jesus calling him. It was Jesus that said, "Come." And so he said, I'm coming, Jesus, and I'm walking right to you." But soon, Peter looked around and he heard the howling storm, and his trust in Jesus weakened. What do you think happened? What happens when our trust weakens, right? He heard that storm and it made him have fear. When Peter stopped trusting Jesus, he began to sink. So there he was, just walking. I'm walking to you, Jesus. I see you. But wait, there's a storm. Wait, there's waves crashing. Wait. There he went down. When Peter stopped trusting Jesus, he began to sink, and he panicked and cried out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus stretched out his hand and took Peter, saying, "Oh, you of little faith, did you not know that I could keep you from sinking?" So think about that. Does Jesus say that to us? Do we have little faith sometimes? And we stop trusting him? Peter stopped trusting. He started looking and becoming fearful, and he started going down. And so Jesus said, "Oh, you've little faith. When you were trusting me, you could walk on water." He thought only of Jesus by his side. He did not notice the waves anymore when he started to feel the hand of Jesus, right? So the two of them walked on water till they reached the boat. Now, that's pretty cool. First off, he had faith in Jesus. Jesus said, "Come," and he started walking. When he started losing faith, when he started looking and having fear, he went down. And then when Jesus reached out to him, he's like, "It's Jesus." And they walked together, hand in hand, to the boat. Wow, pretty cool to walk hand in hand with Jesus. As soon as they reached the boat, as soon as Jesus stepped into the boat, the wind stopped. So it was howling and the waves are going and they were having a hard time keeping track of the boat. As soon as Jesus came on, peace. It stopped. The disciples were so filled with wonder that they came and kneeled before Jesus saying, "Truly, truly, you are the Son of God." Wow, what an experience to be able to see that right before your eyes, right? After they had worshiped Jesus, they looked around and they saw to their surprise that the boat was now close to the shore, and they did not need to row any longer. So Jesus had carried them through that night. Even when they thought they were going to lose it, there was Jesus. He walked across the water to find them. And Peter, as soon as he had faith, he could walk. As soon as he lost his faith, he sank. But did he get his faith back? Yes, as soon as he thought, "Oh, wait, focus on Jesus," and I could walk. The story, I love it. And it reminded me when Isabella was just a little girl and she was like 10 months old and she was getting ready to learn to walk. Well, one night Chris and I were there and we were, kind of helping her along a little bit. You could walk. Well, she picked up my keys and they kind of jingled and she thought, "Oh, those are fun." Well, as soon as she had these keys in her hand, she was focused on the keys. And whenever she had the keys in her hand, she just started walking and stepped forward. And as soon as we took the keys out of her hand, she fell down. And we put the keys back in her hand, she started walking. Took the keys out, she fell down. Why was that? Why could she walk when she had those keys? The keys had no magic powers. You know what they did? They focused her in. on one thing. When Peter was focused in on Jesus and had faith in Jesus, right? Was just truly focused on him. He could walk on water, not just walk like Isabella walking on water because he was focused and had faith. All right, you guys, what do we need to do to have faith? And what do we need to have faith in Jesus to be able to do, right? You know, sometimes when we're in class, you guys will say, everything. And I'm like, no, let's get specific. But in reality, we have to have faith in Jesus to do everything. All right? We have to have faith in him to know, oh, God brought that sun out this morning and we woke up. For every breath, we need to be thanking God, right? But let's think about some specific things. So here's what I did. I had Mr. Chris trace my foot this morning. All right? So here's what I want you to do. Have your mom or dad trace your foot and write down, what are the things that I need faith in Jesus to do so that I can walk, so that I can move forward, so that I could have the life, walk on the path that Jesus has for me, right? We've talked about this a lot. There's a path that Jesus has for us. We get off over here. We get ourselves in trouble, right? But can we come back? Yes, just like Peter had faith and he was able to walk on water again. So I wrote a couple of things down that I thought maybe were some things that you guys needed faith in, right? You guys, how about some faith to make new friends? Do you guys need faith sometimes to be brave enough to go make new friends? Or to try something totally new? Have you guys ever wanted to try something new but you had a little fear? Just like those sailors were having fear on that water, right? Sometimes we have fear. Trying something new. I thought of something that was very specific to Miss Jamie. I planted seeds the other day, and I have faith that they are going to grow. Now, some of them are going to grow, right? I have faith that some of them are going to grow, that God is going to bring the sunshine and the water, and he is going to have those tiny little seeds sprout. I have faith that you guys are going to grow in the Lord because you're going to turn to him and spend time with him every day. Do you know that when you pray, you are having faith that God is going to meet you right where he needs to meet you. Just like those sailors were like, he said he was going to come, and he did. And when he stepped in the boat, when he was with them, suddenly all the storms stop. When we pray, we could spend time with Jesus. Everything on the outside stops from the clutter and the storm, and we could have faith that he is listening and that he loves us. He loves you guys. He loves me, and he loves you. All right, you guys, take some time to pray. Take some time to think about, what does it take great faith for me to do? What do I need to believe in Jesus and to have faith that he can help me through? Think about those things ahead of time before you step into them. Have great faith this week. All right, you guys, I love you, and I'll see you next week. See ya.